Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's often in the news but rarely understood in its full depth: the conflict over Kashmir. Why have India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed neighbors, been locked in a struggle over this beautiful mountainous region for more than 75 years? It's a complex story with deep roots, and to really get it, we need to go back in time. Our story begins in 1947. The British Empire is leaving the Indian subcontinent, and a decision is made to partition it into two independent nations, a Hindu-majority India and a Muslim-majority Pakistan. This event, known as the partition, was one of the largest and most violent migrations in human history. Millions were displaced, and unimaginable suffering ensued. Now, scattered across the subcontinent were over 500 princely states. These were territories not directly ruled by the British, but by local Maharajas, Nawabs, or princes. They were given a choice: join India, join Pakistan, or in theory, remain independent. For most, the decision was straightforward, based on geography or the religious majority of their population. But Jammu and Kashmir was different. It was a unique case. The state had a majority Muslim population, but it was ruled by a Hindu Maharaja, Hari Singh. Geographically, it shared borders with both new nations. Maharaja Hari Singh initially hesitated. He dreamed of an independent Kashmir, a sort of Switzerland of Asia. He tried to sign a standstill agreement with both India and Pakistan to buy more time and maintain his state's autonomy. Pakistan signed, but India wanted further discussion. This delicate balance didn't last long. In October 1947, just a couple of months after independence, a tribal invasion began from the Pakistani side. Pashtun tribesmen, supported by elements within Pakistan, entered Kashmir with the goal of capturing its capital, Srinagar, and forcing the state's accession to Pakistan. The Maharaja's forces were quickly overwhelmed. Facing the collapse of his state, Maharaja Hari Singh made a desperate plea for help to India. India agreed to send troops, but on one crucial condition: Kashmir must formally accede to India. With the invaders closing in on Srinagar, the Maharaja signed the instrument of accession on October 26, 1947. The very next day, Indian soldiers were airlifted into Srinagar and managed to halt the advance. This marked the beginning of the First Indo-Pakistani War. The fighting raged for over a year. India took the issue to the newly formed United Nations, hoping for a quick resolution. In 1948, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 47. This resolution called for a three-step process. First, Pakistan was to withdraw all its nationals and tribesmen from the state. Second, India was to progressively reduce its forces to the minimum level required for law and order. And third, once these conditions were met, a free and impartial plebiscite, or a public vote, was to be held to determine the future of Kashmir, allowing its people to decide whether they wanted to join India or Pakistan. Sounds like a clear plan, right? Well, it never happened. Both sides interpreted the resolution differently and accused the other of not fulfilling their part of the deal. Pakistan never fully withdrew its forces, and India therefore never held the plebiscite, arguing that the conditions for it were never met. The war ended with a UN-brokered ceasefire in 1949, which established a ceasefire line that effectively partitioned Kashmir. This line is now known as the Line of Control, or LOC. So, India ended up controlling about two-thirds of the territory, including the populous Kashmir Valley, Jammu, and Ladakh. Pakistan controlled roughly one-third, which it calls Azad Kashmir, or Free Kashmir, along with the northern areas of Gilgit-Baltistan. This temporary ceasefire line has become the de facto border, a heavily militarized and volatile frontier. The unresolved status of Kashmir led to more wars. In 1965, another major conflict broke out. Pakistan initiated what was called Operation Gibraltar, sending troops disguised as locals across the line of control to incite an insurgency in Indian-administered Kashmir. The plan backfired, leading to a full-scale war that ended in a stalemate, with both sides returning to their pre-war positions after a Soviet-brokered ceasefire. Then came the 1971 war. While this conflict was primarily about the independence of East Pakistan, which became Bangladesh, it also saw fighting along the Western Front in Kashmir. After India's decisive victory, the two countries signed the Simla Agreement in 1972. This agreement was significant because both sides agreed to settle their differences through peaceful, bilateral negotiations. They also agreed to respect the line of control and refrain from altering it unilaterally. For India, this agreement meant that the Kashmir issue should be resolved between the two countries without third-party involvement, including the UN. The late 1980s marked a dark and pivotal turn. A violent insurgency against Indian rule erupted in the Kashmir Valley. There were many reasons for this: allegations of rigged state elections, a growing sense of political alienation, and a desire for self-determination. Pakistan provided significant support to various militant groups, arming and training them, and transforming the conflict into a prolonged and bloody proxy war. This period saw immense violence, human rights abuses from all sides, and the tragic exodus of the Kashmiri Pandit community from the valley. The conflict flared up again in 1999 with the Kargil War. Pakistani soldiers infiltrated strategic peaks on the Indian side of the line of control in the Kargil district. This led to a high-altitude war that lasted for several months. After intense fighting and international diplomatic pressure, Pakistan was forced to withdraw its troops. The Kargil conflict was particularly dangerous because by this time, both India and Pakistan had openly declared themselves as nuclear powers, raising fears of a catastrophic escalation. Since then, the situation has been a tense cycle of calm and crisis. Peace processes have been initiated and then derailed by terrorist attacks, like the 2008 Mumbai attacks, which were linked to a Pakistan-based militant group. The line of control has seen countless ceasefire violations. In recent years, a major development occurred in 2019. The Indian government revoked Article 370 of its constitution. This article had granted special autonomous status to Jammu and Kashmir for decades, allowing it its own constitution, flag, and a degree of independence in its internal affairs. The Indian government argued this move was necessary to fully integrate the region with the rest of the country, foster economic development, and end separatism. The state of Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. This decision was met with a massive security lockdown, a communications blackout, and the detention of many local political leaders. It was celebrated by many in India but condemned by Pakistan and met with significant opposition within Kashmir. So, where do things stand today? The core of the dispute remains unchanged. From India's perspective, Kashmir is an integral and inseparable part of the nation. The 1947 accession by Maharaja Hari Singh is seen as final and legally binding. India views the conflict primarily as an issue of cross-border terrorism, sponsored by Pakistan, and maintains that the entire former princely state belongs to India. From Pakistan's perspective, Kashmir is a disputed territory whose fate must be decided by the will of its people, as mandated by the original UN resolutions. Pakistan highlights the Muslim-majority character of the region and champions the cause of self-determination for Kashmiris. It often refers to Kashmir as its jugular vein. And what about the people of Kashmir themselves? This is where it gets even more complex because there isn't one single Kashmiri voice. Their views are incredibly diverse. Some want to be part of India, some want to be part of Pakistan. Many others desire complete independence from both. And after decades of conflict, a huge number of people simply yearn for peace, stability, and a normal life, free from the constant military presence and violence. The conflict has taken a devastating toll on generations of Kashmiris, shaping every aspect of their lives. To sum it up, the Kashmir conflict isn't just about a piece of land. It's a deeply emotional issue, entangled with national identity, historical grievances, and geopolitical strategy. It's a legacy of the chaotic partition of 1947. It's about the unfulfilled promise of a plebiscite and differing interpretations of history and law. and it's about the aspirations of the people who call this beautiful but troubled land their home. Resolving it would require immense political will, courage, and a commitment to dialogue from all sides. Until then, Kashmir remains one of the most complex and dangerous flashpoints in the world. Thanks for watching. I know this is a heavy topic, but understanding it is crucial. If you found this explanation helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into complex global issues. And let me know in the comments what you think or what other topics you'd like to see covered. See you in the next one.